All right, today we're tackling one of the most delicate situations in all of medicine, helping a patient with chronic pain safely taper off of opioids. Now, this is a process that is just filled with risk, but a new way of thinking about it reframes the clinician's role, moving from just a prescriber to a coach. And if you're a clinician, you've been here. You know this question. How do you take a conversation that is so often dominated by fear and mistrust and turn it into a real alliance? A partnership for getting healthier. To even begin to answer that, we've got to first appreciate the high-stakes world of chronic pain and long-term opioid therapy. See, it's so important to understand that this conversation isn't just a box to check. It is an absolutely critical clinical moment. That initial talk can literally set the stage for success or for failure. How we communicate is every bit as important as the pharmacology we're recommending. And that's because there's almost always a powerful emotion sitting right there in the room with you. Which brings us to our next section, the fear of tapering. And let's be really clear, this fear isn't just on the patient's side. Clinicians feel it too, and for very good reason. I mean, if a taper is managed poorly, the outcomes can be catastrophic. We're talking about mental health crises, overdose, a complete breakdown of trust, the patient just disengaging from care altogether. The stakes are incredibly high.
And then you have the voice of the patient. This one phrase, I want to reduce, but I'm scared, it just captures the whole dilemma, doesn't it? This isn't defiance. This is a real internal conflict between wanting to get better and being terrified of the pain and the unknown.
So how in the world do you navigate that fear and that ambivalence? Well, it really requires a fundamental shift in how we see our role. And that brings us to the core idea here, the clinician as coach.
This slide just lays it out perfectly. The old way, simple prescribing, is all about the what medication, what dosage, what's on the prescription pad. But this clinical coaching model, it flips the focus to the how. How do we build an alliance? How do we build up the patient's confidence that they can do this? How do we commit to a plan together? It's a huge shift from being an authority figure to being an ally.
You know, this coaching mindset really gets to a deeper truth. Effective therapy is about so much more than just the medicine. It's about helping the patient build skills, things like realistic pacing or learning to tolerate discomfort. And what do you call someone who helps you build skills like that? A coach. It just fits. Okay, so if we're gonna step into this role as a coach, what are the actual skills we need? Let's open up the toolbox and have a look. First up, and this one is so important, is motivational interviewing, or MI. This is not about lecturing or trying to persuade somebody. It's actually a style of conversation that helps you find and strengthen the patient's own motivation for change. It's how you work with that ambivalence, not just push against it. And that leads right into our second tool, shared decision-making, or SDM. This is where you put that alliance into practice. It's a real process where you and the patient work like partners to build the care plan together. What that does is create genuine buy-in, real ownership, which is exactly what all the current guidance is pointing to. And this is not just a nice theory. This is happening right now. Researchers are actively studying and comparing these communication strategies in really high-risk settings. It just goes to show that this is a major area of clinical innovation. It's the cutting edge. So now we've got the tools. What happens when we actually put this coaching framework into practice? Well, that brings us to building trust and action.
The impact can be huge. When you use these coaching skills, you can directly help that patient work through their ambivalence. You give them a sense of control, what we call agency, and that makes them so much more likely to stick with the plan. And maybe the most important thing of all, it protects your relationship, building a foundation of trust that's still there when, inevitably, symptoms flare up.
And this really brings us full circle, back to the main takeaway, which is all about moving beyond the prescription. So I'll leave you with a final thought to mull over. When we think about all the complexity here, all the fear, and all the incredible potential for both harm and healing, we really have to ask ourselves, is our single most powerful tool not what's on the prescription pad, but the quality of the conversation we choose to have?